God blimey, look at her.
And as close to 40,000 signed a petition to end the Sun's page 3, we ask if it's time to bin the pin-up. We're joined by Hattie from Camberwell and Neil from Wapping. We're going to move on. Today's page 3 pin-up quotes the American philosopher William James on the perils of pessimism whilst wearing a yellow tasselled monokini. Arguably, the debate about the Sun's page 3 girls has never really gone away, but it has gained some traction over the past week with a sequence of high-profile comedians, politicians, columnists signing a petition to end it. Stephen Smith takes a long, hard look at page 3's place in British culture.
The less you think about women, the better. God blimey, look at her.
Where would we be without page 3? In a much better place, say many.
Beauty Queen shocks council. Lovely Sharon Spencer, 22. She's more than 22, isn't she?
It's more than 40 years since the first scantily clad model made her bow in the pages of a tabloid. Page 3 is a British institution, but labelled anachronistic this week by Labour's Harriet Harman, who's known by some as Hattie from Camberwell, a moniker she apparently shares with today's page 3 girl in the Sun. The pictures were very glamorous and sophisticated in the early years, says one of the first page 3 girls. Today, not so much.
They are tacky and that they are too obvious, and they're probably inappropriate to be in a family household. And I think today's families are very different. You mustn't forget that when page 3 started, it was at a time when, you know, the 70s were exploding into free love, and it was a very exciting love, peace and freedom, free-spirited people floating about the place with flowers in their hair.
A current glamour model says page 3 objectifies women, but in a good way.
It is a form of sexual objectification, but any anthropologist will tell you that sexual objectification has been imperative for the survival of the human species, and celebrating sexuality is imperative, and page 3 is celebrating that.
Campaigners against pornography have linked page 3 pictures to violence against women, but others have seen them as the working man's old masters.
The chap that I'm talking about is as likely to enjoy looking at the girl on page 3 of The Sun as his social superiors and intellectual betters, as they see themselves are, to go to the art gallery and see it having been painted.
Today, bluntly, there's a lot more sex about than when page 3 began. But it's still with us, and there's no shortage of young women eager to appear in it.
You want to make some photos with me?
However, almost 40,000 people have signed a petition urging The Sun to drop it. A campaign celebrated in verse.
No more page 3, and it makes me so happy that finally, 84 years after winning the right to vote through protest and death, yes, papers might actually start to fill pages with the sagest or most outrageous words of powerful women, everyday women whose faces don't need to be pleasing and stomachs don't need to be thin and boobs don't need to be bared.
I think it's meant to represent sort of youth and freshness, and it celebrates natural beauty. We don't have models who have had plastic surgery on the page. It's obviously legal. We're allowed to publish those images. And I think it's become quite an innocuous British institution.
I am proud of my body, and what I do with it in my spare time is none of the council's business. Yeah. Wouldn't even get planning permission for that, would you?